Alright. As promised, guys, I am back today. And today we're talking about the defensive side of the ball. Now, the defensive side of the ball, this one actually isn't too bad. I got some good news and I've got some not so good news. For the people who follow me, yes, I am going to talk about Mr. Bosa. I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to start this video off with our defensive line. Basically our defensive ends and our nose tackles. So, start off with the guy that everybody loves, DeForest Buckner. So, he played all 16 games, 44 solo tackles, 23 assisted, 67 total tackles, 12 sacks, 71 yards on those 12 sacks. That is amazing. That means that he was, every time he was sacking somebody, that means that he literally averaged almost a good 8-9 yards a sack. Well, that's ridiculous, man. I'm sorry, not 8 or 9. I want to say about 6 to 7 yards per sack. So, 6 to 7 yards, they push people back. That's lovely. He had 18 tackles for a loss. That's ridiculous. He had 3 passes defense. DeForest Buckner, defensive lineman. That's part of just getting your hands up and being smart, using your brain. And he had a fumble recovery as well. So Defo, we already know who he is. We know what he brings to the table. We know what he can do. I feel like DeForest Buckner is just going to continue to get better and better and better. Out of all the first-round picks we've had the last few years that came from the defensive line, he has been the only one that's actually come out of the shell and shined and done what he was supposed to do. So next year for DeForest Buckner, the sky's the limit. He can put us into the stars and stratosphere in sacks. I think with our new wide 9 approach, we're still going to get more sacks and we're going to have a lot better defense and a lot better things to go on. But there's not really much to say about Defo. Defo is Defo. You know what I'm saying? He's going to get out there, he's going to do his damn job, and at the end of the day, we got to get him paid. We have way too much salary cap space for us not to fuck around and pay this guy. If we sit up here and let this dude walk because we're tight with our pocket, this is the dumbest thing we would do. Because he's going to fetch ridiculous money on the open market. So, DeForest Buckner, going to do an awesome job for us. Great for us last year. We got to get him paid. Next up, we have Arik Armstead. Arik Armstead played all 16 games, 33 solo tackles, 15 assisted tackles, so 48 tackles in total. He only had 3 sacks, 19 yards per sack. So that's about 8 yards for each 3 sacks that he did have. So that's not bad. I'm not going to be upset about that. He had 6 tackles for a loss. But Armstead, to me, there were a lot of analysts saying that he was one of those guys who was getting a lot of QB pressures. So he was better than people think, and he progressed last year. So I'll go ahead and give Armstead the benefit of the doubt that he comes out, and by all accounts, from what I've heard from OTAs, he's been looking like a beast, and he's been looking great. So let's hope that this is the year that Armstead decides to show up and show out, and maybe he can get himself a nice little payday too. I wouldn't pay him DeForest Buckner money, but maybe we can give him some, a good amount of money and probably throw some incentives in the contracts to keep him paid, to keep him around. If he shows us that he's well worth every penny. Because we're not going to be able to move him with a $9 million cap hit. Nobody's going to pay for a guy that basically was kind of serviceable. He wasn't really a starter. So I'm going to say Armstead does a pretty good job. We'll move on. So one of the other holdover, Ronald Blair III, played all 16 games. He had 24 solo tackles, 12 assisted, 36 tackles in all. He had 5.5 sacks. He had 11 tackles for a loss. And out of those 5.5 sacks, he had 43 sack yards. So that's a ridiculous rate. That's about 8 yards per sack, just about. And that's awesome for him. So I can say, Ronald Blair III, when he comes into place, he does his job. He does what he needs to do. I think that Blair is going to be a good person for us to keep on the O-line. I don't see us getting rid of him or moving him or him being cut in any way, shape, or form. Next up, we got Solomon Thomas. Solly last year played all 16 games. He only had 31 tackles. He had, looks like, 1 sack. He had, looks like 3.5 tackles for a loss. And let's see here. That's pretty much it. So Solly last year was marred by a mental block, from things happening in his personal life. So you can't really fault the guy for trying his best to be who he is and kind of go through, all that stuff that he's having to deal with on his own. And it's unfair. I mean, it hurts, what I'm saying, when you lose somebody you love. There's not really much you can do, but at the end of the day, I am going to say that Solly's got to get it together. He's got to come in. He's got to show up. He's got to show out. By all accounts, like I said, the things coming from OTA sounded great about him. So I feel like Solly would be doing good for us this year. And at the same time, I think if they could stick him inside next to DeForest Buckner, I think that's going to be a great tandem. You know what I mean? Because we're going to need two guys that can just tear up that middle so the guys on the edge will really even kill. Because if we can push your guards back into the quarterback, and we've got, bookend defensive ends that are basically putting so much pressure off the edge, that pocket is collapsing, faster than you can even get the ball out or even go through any of your reads, then that's going to help our DBs on the back end to be able to play a little bit better and make better decisions. So Solomon Thomas, I think he's going to have a great year this year. Like I said, by all accounts, he has been doing very well. He looked great in OTAs. Heard nothing but good things about him this offseason. He himself has come out and stated, that he was battling some mental health issues last year, and he's finally got those things under control. So that's a blessing for that man, and I'm glad that he, kind of addressed it, got control of it, and now he's back and he's focused. So next up on our defensive end guys, let's see. Who else are we going to have? So as of right now, defensively, let me just go through the actual roster because I know we were having a little bit of an issue here with the roster, guys. So give me a second. I'm gonna jump over to the actual roster. So I went over Armstead. I went over Blair. So we got this guy named Jamal Garcia Williams. He's probably not gonna make it to the squad. We got Capron Lewis Moore. Won't make it. The other guy that we do have that we had out all year, and we drafted him with a third-round pick, knowing he wasn't going to play last year. Thank you, John Lynch. Is Kentavious Street. Now, his nickname around training camp was Baby Hulk, saying this dude is ridiculously huge. So what I'm hoping is that Kentavious Street will go ahead and come up and do a good job for us and show us why we wasted a third-round pick on a guy we knew was going to sit out the whole fucking year. So he better come in and he better show up and show out. I'm expecting Kentavious Street to come in and blow up offensive lines. I'm telling you, he better rip some fucking heads off in preseason. I don't want to see him taking a break. I don't want to see him taking a day off. I want him fighting to stay in the game the whole year because he has to show us something. That's a third-round pick. We could have got a very good player that would have been productive for us. But what did John Lynch do? He loves these goddamn injured players. Well, we're going to take him on draft potential. Don't get me started. I'll get on John Lynch another time. But either way, Kentavious Street's got to show up and show the fuck out. Because he didn't play last year. By all accounts, they say he looks good in training, in OTAs. He better look great in training camp, and he better look damn good in fucking preseason. He better be out there ripping heads off and wreaking fucking havoc. So next up, we got Sheldon Day. Now, Day did a really good job when he did have his chances to come in and play. I like Sheldon Day. Sheldon Day has been, a staple on the team for a little bit. And he comes out and he does his job, you know what I'm saying? He's a serviceable guy. But Day is not necessarily a starter. He's more so kind of a backup to an extent. If we can go ahead and kind of switch Solly from end all the way and put him into, defensive tackle. So next up, we got this guy named Kevin Givens. Probably won't make the squad. DJ Jones did an awesome job for us out of Ole Miss. So I think that he'll most likely make the squad. We got Julian Taylor. Julian Taylor, if y'all don't know who this dude is, last year in the preseason, just try to find our preseason games for last year. He was wreaking havoc. Just look for number 77. He was all over the place. So I was very confused on how he didn't make the active roster. and what was going on with that guy. But Julian Taylor was looking great last year in preseason to me. So I hope we can get him some playing time because I think he can come off that edge and do some great things. Then we got Cedric Thornton, probably not going to make the squad. And the reason I saved this dude for last is because y'all know how I feel about him. Nick Bosa. So I put a video up, like I said, it's my most viewed video I've ever had on fucking YouTube. I got it to I think 1.5, 1,500 views or 1,600 views, all based on the fact that I said not drafting because of the things that happened on Twitter. I felt like he wasn't, a good dude, and some good dialogue came from that. So everybody was trying to tell me, give him benefit of the doubt. The thing is Bosa has such a laid-back demeanor, you can't read him. You don't really know how he truly feels because he's so cool. Like, he talks literally like this. Yeah, I'm in the Bay Area. I think it's going to be good for me, and, it's going to help me, grow as a person and do the things I need to do. Like, that's how he talks. He doesn't show any emotion, nothing, so you can't read him. His teammates at Ohio State say they loved him. The guys in the building say they think he's a great dude. So, everybody just bypasses all the negative racist shit and all the things that, happened in the past. Him liking the fact of, black men getting shot or arrested, all that stuff. It's water under the bridge, Hey, he was a kid. It didn't mean anything. Whatever. So I'm past that. But I'm going to go on and move on to the reality of the situation. Nick Bosa is injury prone, just like his big brother Joey. So Joey held out all the way through the first 4 games of the fucking season when he first got signed due to the language in the contract because of him being injury prone. And what's little Nick doing? Nick ain't signed his contract. He got 4 years, $33 million. But what's he doing? His agent and Parag Marathe are fighting over the language in the contract. To me personally, I feel like there should be a damn injury clause if you're injury prone. I'm sorry. Last year, you tore your ACL in high school. Your last couple years in Ohio State, you never played a full season. Then you come over here to us in OTAs, and what's the first thing that fucking happens the minute you get on the field? Oh, here we go with your grade 1 hamstring. Oh, it's nothing to be worried about. It's not a big deal. Everybody says you start getting down on himself. You should be down on the fucking self. If you can't stay healthy, what good is it for us to waste the number 2 fucking pick on him? And then you going to play the holdout game? He better get his ass on that field. He better be there during preseason, and he better sign. Because if he doesn't, to me, as a real Niner fan, I don't care how any of y'all feel. If y'all want to kiss his ass and jump on the fucking Bosa bandwagon, you guys go right the fuck ahead. I'm not doing it until he shows me something. Till I see him on the field, wreaking havoc, sacking the quarterback, putting pressure on those offensive tackles, and, making plays. I'm not going to jump on this bandwagon. You know why? Because there's nothing to jump on. He hasn't even shown us he can last through OTAs. So if he doesn't, and then the thing is if he doesn't sign that contract, he can't report to training camp. So think about that. For all you people riding his dick and getting happy about him, he cannot be at training camp. How you gonna learn shit if he ain't signed a damn contract? So you're gonna hold out through training camp, not know the system, not learn nothing, and standing on the sidelines ain't finna do no fucking good for you. Then possibly hold out into the season, depending on whether he signs his contract or not. I don't know if he will or he won't, but I'm going to guess if his older brother didn't do it, his older brother is probably guiding him and probably, working with his agent and saying the same thing. But to me, it's just very simple. I'm not going to jump on this gravy train of Bosa's this, Bosa that, all the other shit. Period, point blank. You weren't even able to stay on the field during OTAs. If you get into training camp and you get hurt again, what the fuck? Y'all are not seeing this. So Niner fans, open your eyes. If someone's injury prone, they're injury prone, man. And it sucks to say that because I want him to get paid as a player. I understand how it works. Like you don't get a lot of money. The average career of an NFL player is probably like 2 to 3 years max. I get all that. But at the end of the day, for somebody like Nick Bosa to be taking at number 2 and to be holding out without signing his contract, and he has a month off. He's had all this time off to be able to heal that damn hamstring. So he needs to get his contract signed. He needs to get it figured out ASAP, and he needs to be in training camp to report so that he can get on the field and start making some fucking plays. Otherwise, we wasted the pick. And if you think I'm wrong, by all means comment and tell me why I'm wrong. But other than that, all these are facts.